Broward Vee, you know, one of the top hitters out of Lauderhill, Florida, you know, out of Broward.
What's going on, y'all? I finally caught up with Broward Vee, one of Lauderhill's top hitters. This man crazy on them bikes. But before we get into the bikes, man, I really want to ask you about your childhood. How was it growing up for you?
Yeah, I was, you know, it was like a mix.
You got yourself into some shit.
Yeah.
You knew how to get safe from out of some shit.
Yeah, it was like a mixture of stuff.
Like, so, what, like, before, like, growing up, what type of hobbies you was into? Like, did you play some football, sports?
I played football, basketball.
How that went for you? Like, did you, like, when you stopped? Up until when did you play?
I want to say till like from like 9 years old to probably like. Well, I still play basketball here, and, you know, so I didn't lose it.
Oh,
you know, I still got the shot. It ain't gonna go nowhere, but you know, I want to say from about 9 years old.
Okay, so growing up, how was like your everyday life? Like, did you have both parents, like sisters, brothers? Like, what was like everyday for you?
Well, my mom wasn't really around like that, but my dad, you know, that's all I had. My daddy and my grandma. That's about it.
Okay, any siblings?
I got one brother and two sisters.
Okay, y'all close? Not necessarily.
Not like that, nah.
So growing up, like, who was some of your like people you looked up to? Like, is it family members, maybe celebrities? Like, who was somebody you looked up to growing up?
Who I looked up to? I like Kobe Bryant. You know, James Stewart.
Is it like the mentality of Kobe that you fucked with? Or
Yeah, his mentality.
Like that hard working.
Yeah,
like
his effort. Yeah.
For sure. So like, so how would you say you got into bikes? Is that something like you always wanted to do?
Oh yeah, that's been in my blood since I was born.
Yeah. Like, so you got cousins and stuff that probably was riding, or like you just always seen people ride?
Yeah, I always seen people.
It wasn't like the street side of the bike life world, or was you like into like that motocross and stuff like that growing up?
It was mostly the street life.
Just street life.
Yeah, the street bikes.
So, how you figure you got introduced to the bike world?
You talking about such as fixing them or riding?
Riding. Well, you started riding first, right?
Yeah.
Alright, so yeah, riding.
I can't, like, it's been, like, as in riding, the last thing I do remember, like, from back then was, like, my granddaddy, he bought me, like, my first 50. It was like a little Chinese Baja, like some bullshit, you know, but it wasn't bullshit back then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It wasn't bullshit back then, because I made it work. And that's probably when I was, like, 8 years old, probably, like, 8.
That's something you asked him for, or he just knew?
Yeah, I asked him for it.
Okay, so how long you had to wait for it?
I probably had to wait for like 3 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, till Christmas. Okay. Yeah, he got me right for Christmas.
He got you right?
You know, I was trying to hang out.
Okay, so how old you said you was again?
Like 8.
Like 8. Okay.
Yeah, like
so
8,
like,
9.
Because I was gonna ask you what was the first bike you ever had and why, but you pretty much answered that. So like, when it was time for you to go purchase with your own money, what was the first bike you decided to get?
A 80. It was an 80, CR 80.
Okay, why you chose that at the time?
You know, that was like, well, that's a good question. That's a good question.
You gotta think about
hey, that's a good question. But shit, that was like a name brand bike, and it fit me good, like at the time. You know, for a 9-year-old, that was a good start off bike to be name brand.